Hi guys, it's Grace with Grace Gets Gastric, and I'm here today for a Pittsburgh vlog slash recap video. So, if you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I recently went on a trip to Pittsburgh, which it was my first time going to Pittsburgh, or the state of Pennsylvania, and I was there to visit some friends, and I had a really fun time. It was really cool. Pittsburgh is not a place that is particularly high on my must-see list. It is probably not a place that I would have gone anytime soon if it weren't for the fact that I did have friends living there, but it was a pretty cool city. I enjoyed myself, and most importantly, I had a lot of fun seeing my friends. These are friends that I've met through my other online community, one of which I had not ever met in person before, though we had like Skyped and stuff, so I knew what she looked like and we talked a lot. And then the other one, I've met a number of times. We've become really good friends. We've actually traveled to Europe together. We've gone to multiple states and traveled together. So she's the one I actually stayed with. And it's good. We happened to, you know, like when you find people that you like share space well with, that is always really nice. Being an introvert, sometimes you just like kind of need a little bit of alone time. And we're both kind of like that. And we both are good. You know, like we don't take offense if someone's like, I need some time. And it actually worked out nicely because I was doing the 75 hard and I needed to get in a 45-minute outdoor workout every day, which I just did 45-minute outdoor walks. And so she went with me a few times, but most of the walks I took by myself, and that was just like a really good time for me to have some alone time, for her to have some alone time, and for us to just recharge, since, you know, when you're traveling with people or staying with people, that is a lot of concentrated time that you are spending with another person. And so I often find after trips like that, I'm just very drained, just emotionally, mentally drained of having to kind of be on all the time. I am very much someone who gains energy by being alone. Anyways, start off with my trip. I left on a Thursday and I took a red eye. So I left at like 10:30 at night and I got there at about 8:30 in the morning on Friday, and it has been a very long time since I've taken a red eye, and it was certainly an experience. I do not sleep well on planes. I never have. I love to read on planes. That is sort of what I like to do, or occasionally watch movies, but sleeping just does not happen. Especially because I generally don't like to take any kind of medication to help me sleep, melatonin, or anything like that. Particularly if I'm traveling alone. I just don't really feel comfortable taking something that is going to impair me mentally and make me more drowsy when I am alone. So I was not going to take anything, and I did happen to, I was traveling with American, and they have like this very like cheap economy option where you're basically like, it's basically like flying Spirit. So you're the last boarding class, you don't get to choose your seats, whatever. So I was actually on the flight there, the long one, flying into Philly, and then I had a connection to Pittsburgh. I was in the very back, the very last row in the center, which was extra unfun because you can't tilt your seat back. And I do have like a neck pillow, but because the wall was right behind me, it like put a lot of pressure on the neck pillow, and it made it not very comfortable. And so I attempted to sleep the whole time, but I do not think I actually got any real sleep. My Fitbit didn't register any sleep, and I feel like I maybe drowsed a little bit, but for basically all 5 hours, I was just sort of in this like attempting to sleep space. So there was that. It was whatever. But it was fine. I got there and had a full day in Pittsburgh, in which we wanted to do things. I actually didn't feel too bad or too tired. I got coffee when I got into the airport. Like that was the first thing I did, is I got some coffee in Pittsburgh, and which is good because my friend was running like 10 minutes late, so it was perfect amount of time to grab my luggage. I was forced to check my baggage because I was in the last boarding group and the flight was full. I had to check my baggage at the gate, but it came this time. And, picked myself up, we went home, and then, I had to do my first workout of the day. So we, decided to just do a walk outside, because I wanted to make sure I got an outdoor workout in, and because, it was just a good opportunity for me to kind of get to know the area where, you know, her neighborhood where she lives. So we did our 45-minute walk, kind of relaxed a little bit, just caught up, and we're waiting. Our other friend was at a doctor's appointment, so she came a little bit later, and then we headed off for our first activity. So we got lunch at a cafe nearby the University of Pittsburgh, I think it's Pitt, because there is this thing called the Cathedral of Learning, and it is this giant building, and it is very Harry Potter-esque inside. It was very beautiful, and one of the really cool things that they have there is they have all these different classrooms that are, each one is designed in the style of a different country. So a classroom in Austria, a classroom in South Africa, you know, like, so each one had different countries. And so we didn't get to see all of them because some of them were closed, but we went through, looked at the beautiful Harry Potter architecture, and then went through the different classrooms and got to see different styles. And they were actually working classrooms, so that was really interesting to see. Some of them seemed like they would be a little bit more comfortable and functional than others, but it was a really cool concept and really well executed, I thought. And then after we did that, we went to the FIPPS Observatory, which is essentially this giant set of indoor greenhouses. And they have different exhibits in these greenhouses. So the one that was running at the moment was called Van Gogh in Bloom. And so what they did with each of these different kind of rooms is they picked a Van Gogh painting and then sort of interpreted that with the various plants and flowers. And so you got to see these kind of clever interpretations of Van Gogh paintings with plants, and it was really cool. It was very beautiful. There was also a butterfly room because there's kind of butterfly season. So we got to walk through this area where there were a bunch of butterflies just flying around. And they have a rainforest room. I think they change every single year to a different country's rainforest. So this year it was Cuba, and we got to walk around that. But it was really cool. Like, just the flowers were beautiful, and my friends were saying it's wonderful in the winter when you're like in that, just want some warmth and some plant life. They really love it there. So it's actually one of their favorite places to go, and so that was really cool. And then after that, we went back to my friend's apartment, and we did a lot of walking throughout that. It was a 45-minute walk, so that was kind of my second workout. And then we went back to my friend's place and hung out and chatted. I mean, like, we did a lot of catching up, and went out to dinner. There was this cool hand washing station where you like stuck your hands in and like washed them, sort of like those air dryers for your hands, but with washing. So that was unusual. And then I was pretty tired, so we kind of had an early night. And then the next day, we got up early-ish and I went to the gym. So my friend has a gym membership, as many people do, and they actually were allowing free guest passes for the Memorial Day weekend, which was perfect. So I was able to get like that 45-minute indoor workout done. And then in the afternoon, we went to the Mattress Factory, which is a modern art museum. They have various buildings, so like different sets of buildings within the same neighborhood. And modern art is always very interesting. And there were a lot of less than impressive and very unusual exhibits, and then a couple of exhibits that were really outstanding, so it kind of makes up for it. But it was a fun thing, and one of the cool things is one of my friends, the one I was staying with, is actually moving somewhere else at the end of summer. And so she had a lot of stuff on her Pittsburgh to-do list that coincided nicely with someone who was visiting. So she got to check off a lot of things that I wanted to do while I was there. So that was nice. And then we went to the Andy Warhol Museum, which Andy Warhol was born in Pittsburgh. And they have a whole museum, a huge museum dedicated to him. And at 3 p.m. on the last Saturday of every month, they have a queer tour. I think it's called Dandy Andy. So it is a tour of the museum that kind of focuses primarily on Andy Warhol as a gay man and how that influenced his art. Well, so that was just a really interesting tour to, there's a lot of information that I didn't really know about, and a lot of really cool works. I mean, Andy Warhol is definitely a very influential artist, so that was very interesting to see. After that museum, that was the night we decided to do kind of a nicer dinner, so we went out, got some steak, that was good, and again, just sort of chatted. Like a lot of this, it was definitely more of a low-key vacation than perhaps some of my others, because it was so focused on really just like talking and catching up and spending time with the friends that I don't see very often. You know, one of them I had never met in person, and the other I hadn't seen since like late 2017. So it's been like a year and a half plus. So the next day was Falling Water. So I've been a huge fan of Frank Lloyd Wright's work, not so much of him as a human being, but since 5th grade we did a unit on Frank Lloyd Wright and architecture, and I, like many times in my life, I became very intensely obsessed for a small period of time, and have basically since then always wanted to see Falling Water. When I was in Chicago a few years ago, we did a tour of like his home, like the home that he built for his family, and a few of the other ones around the area, but Falling Water obviously was in Pennsylvania, and so it was really cool. We ended up, we drove out there and got to do a tour of Falling Water. It was beautiful, really, truly stunning, more impressive than I was even expecting. It was a very cool experience, so I would highly recommend, if you're into that kind of thing and you are in the area, that you make the time to go out there, because it really was just really impressive. So that was really fun. On Monday, we spent a lot of time really just hanging out. Like, we went on a few walks through different neighborhoods, the Strip, and Frick Park, and just walked and hung out. And my friend has a big deadline coming up for a book that she is writing, so we kind of hung out, did some writing, some administrative things, all of that stuff. And then Tuesday before we left, we did the Duquesne incline. So there's this funicular, I think is the word. I only know the word in Spanish, which is ascensor, but it's like this thing that goes up a giant hill, and so from this large hill there is a viewpoint where you can see across the city that is, and it's pretty impressive. So yeah, got some really beautiful views there. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of a wrap up of my trip. I had a lot of fun. These are, you know, these wrap ups are mostly for me and my own records, so I hope you enjoy them. But unlike, you know, I wanted to do something that was more like the Chicago style, and I just realized that it's very difficult to do that when I am around other people and spending a lot of time, again, trying to just really focus on that as opposed to social media stuff. You know, my focus was definitely on like real life connection and less about like trying to film things. You know, I was more like experiencing, and it's very difficult to, you know, film every single thing I'm eating. And it also was not really a very food-focused trip. We did a lot of eating at home, and, you know, I had like a lot of just protein bars and protein shakes and stuff to satisfy my requirements, because I was doing the 75 hard, so I wasn't really keen to eat too many crazy things. One of my friends is pregnant and has gestational diabetes, so she was also more high protein, low carb focused as well. So we obviously ate some good things, but it really was not the primary focus of the trip, and would have just been a little bit awkward trying to film things. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.